In this video, I have a fantastic data set for you. I have July and August enthusiasm score and mentioned data. Hey everyone, welcome back to KDX Bricks Analytics, where I watch all the other Lego investing and reselling videos so that you don't have to. And I got to tell you, there's a lot of great stuff out there, so I recommend watching a bunch of them. So I say that with a little bit of humor, but I was just at the neighborhood pool, swimming with my kids, wrestling with the boys, hanging out. Looked like the rain was going to roll in, so we came inside and I said, hey, it's a great time to record a quick video before racing starts here in about an hour. And as you guys know, when I say quick video, you know that I love the sound of my own voice, so it will always run much longer than I was planning on. And this is the data set I've been waiting for to help me plan all of my Q4 Lego investment purchases that I hope to make. It's a long list, so let's dive right into it. And as always, at the end, I will give you my top 3 from this video. First set on our table is this Lamborghini Countach, 14 mentions and an enthusiasm score of 2.9. The best enthusiasm score a Lego set can get is 3.0, so this is a top score. And I know me, and I'm sure a bunch of you are thinking, seriously, the #1 most mentioned set in the last 2 months is a Speed Champion set? How can that be? And if you look here, Star Wars is 3rd on the list. This is a very popular set for a couple of reasons. It was featured in the Wolf of Wall Street movie, and Lego just came out with the larger Icons Countach. I love that they did the same color. White's not my favorite color for a sports car, but I think it looks great on the Countach. But I still find it very surprising this is the #1 set because of this crazy long 2-year, 9-month shelf life. That's long for Speed Champions. I definitely like this set, but it is not close to my #1. It's not even in my top 10 in my most recent power rankings video. I hope to pick a bunch up, but I'm waiting until it goes on sale for $10 to $12. I waited last year for the DB5 and the Fast and Furious Charger, and they both hit the $12 or $13 price range. DB5 only recently that the primary market actually ran out of stock. Here on Camel 3X, we see on Amazon, it looks like in July, so just a couple of months ago. And then if we go to third-party sales, yep, it jumped up, but it's been kind of flat at the $25 price point. So this is not the most promising comparable. And one anecdotal piece of evidence, I was at one of my Walmarts a few weeks ago, and there were over 100 of these sitting on like 4 shelves just stacked. So I definitely worry about it being oversupplied on the secondary market. Honestly, I worry that there could be a ton of zombie stock for this set. And also, if we look at sales velocity on Amazon today, this is one of the lower Speed Champion sets. So yeah, I like this set, but I don't love it, and I'm only picking it up if it is 45% or more off. Now onto the second set in the table, a Brickheadz Frodo and Gollum from Lord of the Rings. It is a Lego exclusive. That's why Lego is in parentheses. The R in parentheses in front of the set number and name means that according to Brick Fanatics, it is expected to retire at the end of this year. Frodo and Gollum has 11 mentions with a solid 2.5 enthusiasm score. As I said, this is the July and August data set. During that time period, I watched 94 videos on YouTube across 14 channels. 996 individual Lego sets were mentioned. Every time the presenter mentions a set, I record an enthusiasm score of 0, 1, 2, or 3. A 0 means they are avoiding it for investing. A 1 means they are a maybe. A 2 means they think it's going to be an average Lego investment. And a 3 means they think it is going to be a home run Lego investment. So back to this Lord of the Rings Brickheadz, 2-year shelf life. In general, I think Brickheadz do pretty well, especially the licensed Brickheadz. Here's a good example. Last year's Minecraft Llama that retired 9 months ago, $10, about $17 after shipping and fees. I recommend deep diving information of similar sets so you can get the best comparable data that you can find. But I do find on average, the value listed here on Brickset is more often than not pretty close to what you'll get after shipping and fees on eBay or Amazon. Those Minecraft Brickheadz are a pretty good comparable in my opinion to the Lord of the Ring Brickheadz, and I think all 4 that are retired at the end of this year are going to do quite well. It's a little surprising this is our #1 Lord of the Rings Brickheadz on the table, but I think that's because it was on a pretty good discount a month or so ago, so naturally people were buying more of them and talking about this set more. I don't think this is going to be the highest performing Lord of the Rings Brickheadz, but I still think it'll do quite well. Third on the table is this Commander Cody helmet, also 11 mentions, but a little lower 2.1 enthusiasm score. I feel like that's a little low for a helmet, but I have some thoughts as to why. But here is the set. It is pretty decent. I like that it's got some color and a little bit of a standout. Notice I have 19 of them. When this set went on sale for just under $40 after after taxes, but using my red card at Target, I picked up 19 of them. 1 year, 9 months shelf life seems reasonable. If we look at previous helmets, obviously they started out really strong with this Target exclusive, $60 over $200. That is the holy grail. Stormtrooper doing well, $60 to $145. But now look at the rest of this data. So Boba Fett, 60 to 76. That's decent. Darth Vader is still out. Scout Trooper, 50 to 70 is decent. Red 5 retired at the end of last year, and it's down a little bit. And Mando is still on the shelves. And then this Target exclusive retired at the end of last year, 70 to 80. So up a little bit. I still don't know for sure. So this totally could be rumor that is not going to come to fruition. But word on the street is that we are going to be getting 1 or 2 more helmets. If we did, that would help all of these that we are picking up now. But by looking at the history of the helmets, we've noticed that the ROIs are trending down, and they're trending pretty heavily down at this point. That makes sense. You know, once the first wave did really well, a bunch of people were like, whoa, what a great opportunity. Let's pick a bunch up and hope that they turn a similar return on investment. And of course, we know that's not going to be the case. So I would not buy this set at full price. And I can see why it's only a 2.1 enthusiasm score, but buying a bunch of them under $40, then I'm all excited about that. On Amazon, the helmets still have pretty good demand. 2,000 sales velocity per month for Darth Vader, 1,000 for Rex, only 700 for Cody. My guess is the huge discount at Target about a month ago has slowed people down because they're like, heck, let me wait until there's another great deal on this set. And then Mando is 1,000 a month, but even these ones that have already retired, 100 a month is still pretty good, and right around $100 on Amazon is not bad. Fourth on our table, oh, this is one that I like, the A-frame cabin idea set, 10 mentions, E-score of 2.5. I agree with this, and my guess is many of y'all are thinking these numbers are a little high for this set. There are a number of folks out there that obviously like it a lot, but I have also seen videos where people have said, hey, I am pretty much not going to invest in this one or absolutely avoiding it. I think there's real opportunity here. Flying under the radar a little bit, kind of weird to say when it's fourth on the table. Things I like about it is that it is less than a 2-year shelf life. Its ideas, many ideas have done well. It's a 4.4 on Brickset. Overall, it's just a excellent design for anybody that likes the outdoors or taking a mountain Airbnb vacation. It draws you in. On Amazon, it has a solid 700 per month sales velocity. Pretty good for a $180 set. And oh, by the way, this 166, I think, is the lowest that I've ever seen it. Maybe one other time at 170. So this set is rarely being discounted. That's a good sign for demand. And then the other thing I like about the A-frame cabin is it goes great with the tree house that has been out since 2019. A lot of people love building cities. There's good money in skyscrapers and city builds, but I bet there's people that want to build a little countryside next to their city and to have a couple of buildings like these. So I think a little bit of a dark horse, and I'm hoping, since it hasn't gone on sale much yet, that it gets like an unexpected 30% off that doesn't last very long, that we're all able to catch and grab a few, and then I'd be really excited about picking these up. Back to Star Wars, the Boba Fett mech, set 75369, 9 mentions, an E-score of 2.3. That's right where I would be. That seems very reasonable. The buzz on these mechs, as you know, is very weird. Many people are really annoyed by these, but investors are starting to say, hey, there's something here. They're cheap little Star Wars sets with a minifigure that honestly look pretty good, even though they are not canonical. But as we can see on Brickset, still not very popular with the major Lego enthusiasts. So only a 3.8, just over, what is that, a year and a half shelf life? Actually, just under a year and a half shelf life, so even better. The demand is decent since over 5,000 members on Brickset already own this one. I think there's some opportunity, but I'm waiting for it to be below $10. But I want to point out this is the first wave of a new Star Wars sub-theme. Let's look at some other first sets in new Star Wars sub-themes, like the TIE Fighter pilot helmet that we've looked at. How about the first bunch of waves of the microfighters that came out 10 years ago? This Turbo Tank, $10 to $56. The AAT, $10 to $24. TIE Interceptor is $22. The X-Wing is $23. ARC 170 is $30. The Vulture Droid, that's a cool one, $28. I threw in Clone Trooper battle packs. So the first of these that came out are doing awesome, $10 to $78, $12 to $90. These are so good, $13 to $67. Here's a weird Star Wars sub-theme that I'm sure wasn't very popular when it was out. These planet sets, but $10 to basically $20. Here's one that's $27, $35 for the TIE Interceptor and Death Star. That's fantastic. $26. So these all have double, tripled, quadrupled in price. And then one more weird sub-theme, the buildable figures. We would not expect these to be great, and I'm sure these were long hold times, but Jango Fett, for example, $20 to $41. Commander Cody, $20 to $45. Obi-Wan's up 10 bucks to 36. Darth Vader, of course, 30 to 51. So even when the sets aren't that good, more often than not, the first wave or two of a new Star Wars sub-theme ends up doing pretty well, even if it is a longer hold time. But full disclosure, you guys know I love the dioramas. The first wave has only been retired for 9 months, but they are not doing so great. 70 to 55, 90 to 82, and 90 to 90 for this Walmart exclusive. I still think they'll do okay, but they need more time. So back to the mechs. As much as they divide the Lego Star Wars fans, I still think there will be some demand for these maybe 2 or 3 years after retirement. And I don't think there will be a ton of supply because a lot of people have turned away from these. I do want to point out Lego did release one in a second wave. This Skywalker X-Wing looks great. I mean, it's funky, but it looks great. I really hope Lego comes out with 3 or 4 more of these. If they don't, then I'm not as excited about them. And so far, I haven't heard that they are coming out with any more. Back to the list, we have a second Speed Champion set, 9 mentions, E-score of 2.2. This is the Los Avia. It's not my favorite, but I do like that we get a really dark green Speed Champions. It stands out. The long 2-year, 9-month shelf life again. I'm only getting it if it goes for $10, $11 at Walmart and Target right before it retires. Back to another Lord of the Rings, Brickheads, 8 mentions, a really solid 2.8 enthusiasm score. This is Gandalf the Grey and Balrog, 20 bucks for 348 pieces. Again, the 2-year shelf life. I think this is outstanding. I really see this one doing well in the secondary market. Same comments and details as Frodo and Gollum, but I think this one outperforms. Some people are saying, no, this one's not going to outperform and be the best because it's obvious. I hear you, but it's hard to stack up on a ton of Brickheads because they're Lego exclusive. So that thought process only works for me if it means that there is going to be an issue with supply, but there just isn't going to be an issue with supply on the secondary market, in my opinion. So this one I am high on. And now another helmet to talk about, Princess Leia Boushh. We've talked about this one ad nauseum. I'm sure you all are agreeing. 8 mentions, enthusiasm score of 2.8. It is the Target exclusive. It is ugly, but it's the only way to get Princess Leia in this helmet lineup. So I'm thrilled that Lego did it. I think it'll be a decent investment if I'm able to pick it up for $42 or even $48, like the helmets went on huge discount at the end of last year. And again, this one being Target exclusive, Target dropped last year's Dark Trooper helmet down to $48 a couple of times, and it's doing $100 a month at $100 on Amazon. We all know that Amazon prices are more than on eBay or anywhere else. So the 8 that I have, I'm not quite ready to sell them. I'd like to wait another year, especially because the Camel 3X chart for the Dark Trooper helmet is still climbing. I know it's settled out in the last couple of months, but Lego sales typically slow down during the summer because everybody's outside. I expect this one to climb a little bit more and maybe get up to the 130 range on this chart. Another Lord of the Rings Brickheads, Aragorn and Arwen, 7 mentions, E-score of 2.7. Same story. I think this one will do solid and I like it a lot. Sanctum Sanctorum. This is a good one to talk about. 7 mentions, E-score of 2.6. For a while there, this one was flying under the radar, but it is starting to pick up on Buzz. It's a 4.5 on Brickset, $250 for 2,700 pieces and 9 minifigures is pretty good. It fits in with the other modular buildings. It actually literally connects right in with the pinholes and everything. No modulars are retiring at the end of this year. Modulars historically have done well. This one has a little bit of a twist since it can be dressed up with all the minifigures to be Marvel related, or you can dress it down, do slight modifications, just have it be another solid building in a modular building city layout. So I like this one. I don't think I've seen it on sale yet. Kind of surprising, maybe a little one. So I am hoping and waiting for a 30% off after stacking Rakuten and GWPs or whatever other promos we're able to find and apply to a purchase. But one thing really interesting on Amazon, only $50 per month. That seems really low for a set that good. I mean, let's go next door. Now I realize that the boutique hotel is $20 less and it's on sale for $210. So $210 versus $250, but $300 a month for the boutique hotel that's not retiring at the end of this year at only $50 for Sanctum Sanctorum. That seems odd to me, but it's still on my hit list if it goes on a decent discount. Next up on the list is another Speed Champions. This one I like a lot. 76914, the Ferrari 812 Competizone. Originally, I thought it was a little plain and boring, but once I looked into it a little more, the shaping through the doors, the front fenders, and then the hood area is actually pretty good. I like how it just has that little scoop feel to it. The large front section gives me flashes of, you know, some of the classic muscle cars or even a Dodge Viper that I love. And so I can see why it has 7 mentions and an E-score of 2.6. On Amazon, it's $4,000 a month. That's really good. It's finally gone on sale. I'm not buying it at $20. I think it's going to get down to $16 at some point, that's when I'm picking them up. Sales velocity is crushing this Porsche sports race car and double on the Pagani Utopia. So there's definitely high demand for this one. Now let's talk about the first of the 3 Sonic BrickHeads that have come out and are retiring at the end of this year. This is Knuckles and Shadow, the 2-pack. Awesome little set, standard $20. 7 mentions, E-score of 2.4. Let's go back and look at the Minecraft BrickHeads for a second. I think Sonic reminds me of these BrickHeads also, and these 3 that retired last year have come out of the gate pretty decently. Sonic is very popular. The characters are unique and full of personality. A lot of people grew up with Sonic and love these characters. A lot of kids these days are back into Sonic. There's new media coming out. I think movie and cartoons. Forget if there's another game. There's a lot of good here with these Sonic BrickHeads. I'm all in on them. And also with 7 mentions and an E-score of 2.4 is the Stormtrooper mech. Same story as Boba Fett, a low 3.6 on Brickset, but I still think it's going to be decent. A lot of people are saying that this will be the best performing mech. I don't think so. I'm still going with Boba Fett. I realize this one is more massable, but the minifigure is not exclusive, and I think it's already happened or it's about to happen that the Boba Fett minifigure will become not exclusive with a set that's coming out. So that hurts the Boba Fett mech a little bit, but that minifigure and the Boba Fett mech is really good. Arm printing and lots of detail, whereas this is a standard Stormtrooper that even if it isn't in many other sets, it is so similar to all the Stormtroopers that have been produced. So nobody's going to buy this set to get a Stormtrooper minifigure. It's going to be about the build and the minifigure together. And for that reason, I still like Boba Fett a lot better. 7 mentions, E-score of 2.3 is the 1970 Ferrari 512M. It's a great build because it's something unique and different in the Speed Champions lineup because it's a 1970 classic car, but it did get extended from last year's retirement list to this year. So another one that if it goes for $10, $11, $13, I guess I skipped 12 in there, 10, 11, 12 or $13, then I'm picking a bunch of them up, which I think it will. Otherwise, I'm going to be careful and not go crazy on it. Next up is this really great micro fighter, the Boba Fett's Starship micro fighter, the little slave one. Awesome set. I know the minifigure is not very accurate, but it looks good and lots of detail. And I love that there's a little canopy on this micro fighter and the minifigure can fit inside. It does have 7 mentions, an E-score of 1.7. The problem with this set is that there must be tons of supply because it's been on sale for $7 a lot. And in the videos that I'm watching, some people are saying they think it's going to hit $4 or $5. I've already picked up 30 at $6.50. I was pretty excited about that when I did. Now I'm not so excited about it. Oh well, it's still a good one, but probably a longer hold time, and I need it more than 50% off at this point. All right, before we jump into the next set, I got to pull up the racing and see if it has started yet. And if it has, then I got to pause and finish recording later. Racing comes before recording Lego videos. I'm glad I checked. They are on the warm-up lap, which means green flag is in a couple of minutes. So I'm pausing here and I'll pick up with the Tree of Souls after the race is over. So talk to you guys in a bit. All right, I'm back 4 hours later. It was a great race, but unfortunately my guy didn't win. But let's talk about this Avatar Tree of Souls set. This is a really interesting one because it has 7 mentions, but only a 1 enthusiasm score. So that means every single time somebody mentioned this set, if they were thinking about investing in it, I judged that their enthusiasm was a 1, which could mean a few different things. Maybe it's going to be a total bomb, but maybe it's flying under the radar and people are just nervous to dive in. I think there is some potential opportunity. I would want it on a very good discount because I've heard that some people have already got it on, 50%, maybe 40% off. But the tree is about it. It's kind of funny. For $130, everything else is not really that special. But when you put it all together, there might be something there. I am treading very cautiously, but it could be a high risk, high reward set. Now on to a bunch of sets with 6 mentions. First one has a top enthusiasm score of 3. It is the BrickHeads Tusken Raider. Just a standard Star Wars BrickHeads. I think it has a shot because last year's Ahsoka Tano BrickHead, $10 up to $15. And in fact, on Amazon, it is around $30, but on eBay, not doing nearly as well. Here's one for $24, but now it's $20 with free shipping. Here's one with bids for $15 after shipping. After fees, the ROI is decent, but it's not much per unit. I have 27 of them. I am going to wait at least another year before I sell these off, unless the price really jumps over the next, 5 or 6 months. And here's a glance at the Camel 3X chart for Ahsoka. And you can see once it retired, it has been climbing up, and I don't see it plateauing yet. Maybe right here, but I think this is still going to go up for a little while. So again, I'm going to be holding and waiting, but I think the Tusken Raider is going to do something a little similar. And even though it has 6 mentions and a top enthusiasm score, I think there's less enthusiasm for this one than there was for Ahsoka last year. So possibly flying a little bit under the radar compared to Ahsoka, which might mean a little less supply. That doesn't make a huge difference with Brickheads, as I said before. Also with a top enthusiasm score of 3 is the Mos Eisley Cantina set 75290, 21 minifigures, a fantastic build. This is one of my few very rare day one buys. I built it right away, wanted to see all these minifigures, see all the interior detail, the ships, the outbuildings. A 4.5 on Brickset. I have not invested in any yet because of the long shelf life and also because of the $400 price point. I just get nervous in the $300 range and definitely very nervous in the $400 range, but I still think it's going to be one of the best performers of the year. There aren't many great comparables, but I'll show you the other Master Builder series set, Betrayal at Cloud City, $350 to almost $800. Again, not the best comparable. There are a few smaller previous Mos Eisley Cantinas, and most of them have done okay. I think one of them was kind of lackluster, but at this large scale, there is some real potential in my opinion. More Brickheads, Sonic the Hedgehog, same story. I think it's great. And then we've got 40751, Legolas and Gimli. Both of these have an E-score of 2.8, and then Miles, that we'll look at in a second, has a 2.7. Other than Gandalf the Grey and Balrog, I think this one is awesome and a very, very close second. Might even be better than Gandalf the Grey and Balrog because of the very short shelf life. Only 7 months if it stays on the retirement list. And the best thing is that Legolas has Lego in his name. For me, that makes it a home run. I'm all in. Here's Tails, an adorable little Brickheads. I like it. Here's a really good one to talk about. 6 mentions, E-score of 2.5. The Indiana Jones diorama with a bunch of action features, good minifigures from the original movie, less than a 2-year shelf life, a 4.7 on Brickset. This thing ticks a lot of boxes. $150 is expensive, but the problem is that it is starting to sell out. I've only got the one I've built, and more I want to pick some up, but I don't want to pick them up for the $120 or even $110 range. I want to be around 100 or less, and if it doesn't get there, then maybe I missed out on a great one. Here are all 3 of the Indiana Jones sets that are currently available, and all 3 of them are retiring at the end of this year. We'll talk about the other 2 in a little bit, but sales velocity isn't bad. The cheapest set is at $1,000 per month, and then $700 for the $40 set, and then the larger set, $600 per month. Pretty good. Not retired at the end of this year is Optimus Prime, 6 mentions, E-score of 2.5. When it does retire, I think it has a really good shot unless the shelf life is crazy long. 10283, NASA Space Shuttle Discovery, is retiring at the end of this year. $200, a lot of money, but it's very sizable. Fantastic detail with the Hubble telescope being able to fold up and pack inside the bay, and the design and shape is just like perfect in my eyes. 6 mentions, E-score 2.3, 4.6 on Brickset. E-score is a little low just because it's a higher price point. 13,000 members own it. Obviously the demand is there. Many NASA sets perform, just average. They're not home runs, but they're evergreen sets. I think this one will be the same, and honestly, because of the higher price point, maybe there will be a little less supply on the secondary market. Here's the Indiana Jones fighter plane chase that we were talking about. 6 mentions, E-score of 2.2. Like I said, when you go to Target and throw in the set number, it does not come up. I think all 3 of the Indiana Jones sets are sold out at Target, and it's been that way for a few weeks now, so they may not come back to Target, which means they'll get more scarce at other retailers. The Icons El Dorado Fortress, this one remains a mystery for a lot of people. 6 mentions, E-score of 2. I am still very high on it. I would still keep it in my power rankings. I think it was 9th in my last one. I might even drop it to 10th, but I still like it a lot. $215 for 2509 pieces is solid. 5180 members own it. That's also solid. Low sales velocity on Amazon, but it's a remake of the set from 30-some years ago, and it's pirates. Even if there isn't much buzz right now, I think the demand will pick up. Maybe a little bit longer of a hold time. A Disney Brickheads, Cruella and Maleficent, also 6 mentions, E-score of 2. I like this one because these are villains. We haven't had many villains in the past. I think the only one is Ursula in this 2-pack. $20 to over $100. Scrolling through, I don't think there are many other villains in Disney Brickheads form. I mean, maybe Daisy Duck is a little bit of a villain. No, I'm totally kidding. I do have 12 of her. I'm waiting for that one to grow. So yeah, I think there's some good opportunity with this one. And then here's the last of the mechs that are retiring this year, Darth Vader. 6 mentions, E-score of 2. I still like it, but definitely my 3rd place mech. Next is the latest rendition of the Batmobile, expensive at $48, but less than a year and a half shelf life. Nothing special about the minifigures. I know one of them is unique, but we've got tons of Batmans and Joker figures. 6 mentions, E-score 2. Most of the talk about this set is if it goes on a huge discount, then maybe there's some opportunity there. I've heard rumors that this one and the Batwing is going to be a Walmart exclusive 2-pack, and if that's the case, when that thing hits a good discount, then there could be some opportunity, and I will be wanting to pick that up. Back to Star Wars with the E-Wing and Shin Hati Starfighter. It's from Ahsoka Season 1. Decent first season for a new miniseries, but not great. The buzz has dropped out for the most part. That's why there's only an enthusiasm score of 1.8. I think the only potential here is the 5 exclusive minifigures tied in with the 2 smaller ships that are actually decent. I'd much rather have just one larger ship with 5 exclusive minifigures, but for smaller ships, these ones aren't bad. If we go to Brick Economy, we scroll down here, got to get past all the minifigures, and we see the minifigures are valued at $50, almost 50% of the $110 MSRP. A couple of months ago, the minifigures were, I think, just above $60. So now we were looking at above 50% of the MSRP. It makes sense that they'll start to slide down the longer the set is on the shelves. So this is a heavy discount set for me. Not retiring is the Great Wave, 6 mentions, but I think a pretty low 1.8 enthusiasm score. Obviously, we're not going to deep dive it now until it is retiring, but wanted to throw that one your way. The last of the sets with 6 mentions is this Harry Potter Brickheadz 2-pack, Shacklebolt and Tonks. Maybe because they're pretty unique looking characters, but I don't think they're the most well-known names in Harry Potter. And Harry Potter's dying out a little bit, even though it is starting to swing back up in popularity, but these Brickheadz don't inspire me, so I think I'm skipping them. Before we look at the bottom part of this table, I did want to point out that at least for me, Rakuten is running 15% on Lego.com right now, and I am recording this 2 or 3 days before I post it. And do note, it's only 3% for the exclusives and hard to find items. Now, a number of sets with 5 mentions. First one is Ninjago City Gardens with a awesome enthusiasm score of 2.8. I'm a believer. I love it. 4.6 on Brickset, 350 for 5685 pieces and 22 minifigures. And most importantly, this beautiful, colorful build. So much detail. We've got 2 previous that have already retired. Ninjago City, 300 to 750, and then the City Docks, 230 to 600. And it's sounding like there will only be 4 in this sub-theme. Oh, I want to show you the Camel 3X for the first one that retired. Check this out. Retired back in October of 20, and it just climbed for the first couple years to almost $1,200, and now it's over $1,000 on Amazon. I think this one doubles up to $700 in a couple of years, but I'm still cautious because it's that high price point and it's a very big box and hard to ship. Best TV show in history, The Office. This is a Walmart exclusive with 15 minifigures, tons of Easter eggs, all the great characters. Well, maybe not all. There's probably 3 or 4 more characters I wish we got in minifig form. 5 mentions, E-score of 2.6. It was not supposed to retire at the end of this year. It jumped on the list a few months ago. I think I've only seen it on a small sale once, so I am waiting for sales, and I hope it comes because I think this one is a little bit of a sleeper. Not retiring yet is the ATTE Walker with an E-score of 2.4. Also probably not retiring this year is the Too Fast, Too Furious Nissan Skyline GTR, 5 mentions, E-score of 2.4. But I want to highlight this one for a second because on Brick Fanatics, the list that I use, it is still on the retirement list. But all the Discords and Reddit communities that I follow, everybody's pretty confident it is not retiring at the end of this year, but I'm still watching closely because Brick Fanatics is pretty good, so we'll have to see how this goes. I'd really hate to miss out because if we look at the, I need to sort this differently. If we look at the other Fast and Furious, the Black Charger that retired at the end of last year, 20 to 25, not earth-shattering, except Walmart and Target was selling this one for $12 or $13 last year. That's pretty good in 9 months. Another one not retiring, E-score of 2.2, very new set, Jaws. I was kind of on this set, but then I saw it in the Lego store the other day, and this ship is more substantial than I realized. Great build. I love the ship, and so maybe there will be something there, but it is so new that it's not worth deep diving yet. And then the last one in this video that I'm going to show you that's not retiring yet. Everything else I'm only going to focus on the retiring sets, but it's this Boarding, the Tantive 4, E-score 2.2, 7 minifigures with the exclusive 5s. I know it's just another hallway, but oh, there's something I really like about this one. So I'm going to be watching it closely if it's expected to retire at the end of 2025, which it could. Obi-Wan Kenobi and Darth Vader Brickhead, E-score of 1.8. I feel the same way. For some reason, even though these are 2 of the most iconic characters, this set just doesn't inspire me, but I still own 5 of them. Got them at a pretty good deal or GWP, and so I figured why not? And then last set retiring with 5 mentions, but only an E-score of 1.4 is this Mandalorian Fangfighter versus TIE Interceptor. Even with the less than 2-year shelf life, this is a huge discount set for me. Otherwise, I am passing on it. Now to sets with 4 mentions. First up is the Brickheadz Eve and Wally, E-score of 2.8, another fantastic E-score. I'm a believer in this set, other than the fact that a lot of people are saying this one is also not retiring at the end of this year. But again, if we go to Brick Fanatics, we can see that it's right here on the list, and it's even the featured picture of the Brickheadz list. So I have no idea, but I'm at least picking up some in case it does retire at the end of this year. The boxes are pretty sturdy. They're pretty small, so I don't mind storing them. And I'd hate to miss out because if this one does sneak out, then I think it'll do really, really well. Indoor Speeder Chase diorama with an E-score of 2.5. That seems a little high to me, even though I love the dioramas. The first wave have not done well, so these are huge discounts. I did get most of the first wave at 40% off, so I'm okay with that, but I would want this one for 45 or 50 bucks at most. Fender Stratocaster with an E-score of 2.3. I know it's a long shelf life. I know it was supposed to retire last year. I still don't think it's getting enough buzz or mentions. There's a lot of great detail and a lot going on here. I think this one's a little bit of a sleeper. Also with an E-score 2.3, it looks like the next bunch have 2.3s, is this Phantom Menace Brickheads. When it got released with a very short shelf life, I was super excited. I figured it would follow the same path as the Indoor Heroes Brickheads in terms of retiring after that short shelf life, which I think it will, but the problem is that if it follows the same path into retirement, then it's not going to perform well because the Indoor Heroes Brickheads has really not increased in value yet. So it looks like these multi-pack brickheads that start with a higher price tag, even though it's still the same $10 per figure, are going to be longer hold time. If this one goes on 40% off like last year's indoor set did, then I would definitely pick some up. But otherwise, I am going to be holding Nightmare Shark Ship from the Dreams line. This is a cool one. I picked up 3 at 50% off from Walmart's not too long ago, and I think there's some opportunity. 4.5 on Brickset. This build is just so unique. I know Dreams isn't that popular, but this one is a standout, but I would not be picking any up unless they were at least 40% off, any more up. Ahsoka Clone Trooper Battle Pack. I like the Clone Trooper Battle Packs generally, but I have to get them on very, very good discount, and so it'll be interesting to see. And then here's the last of the 3 Indiana Jones set, E-score of 2.3. Definitely my least favorite, but I'm still watching it closely for a discount. Harry Potter Brickheads multi-pack, The Prisoners of Azkaban. Only an enthusiasm score of 2. When this first came out, I really hated on it because I don't like the build of really any of these except Sirius Black, but we're starting to see some of the Harry Potter sets actually perform okay in retirement. 12 Grimmauld Place from last year, I was calling that one out big time, and it is off to the races. Fluffy Encounter from a couple of years ago. So, you know, maybe we've hit the inflection point where the buzz is dying off, that there won't be as many investors in Harry Potter, but there's still enough demand that now that demand is gonna thrive in a lower supply situation. The Icons Corvette, I love this one. I have one for a personal collection. Not a lot of popularity around it. 1.8. I am still surprised at how unpopular the Icons muscle cars, classic cars, sports cars are doing. It's got to be because of these way too expensive recommended retail prices. So at this point, they are going to be very long hold time. I still believe someday they're going to do pretty well, but probably longer than I would want to hold. The second of the Harry Potter 2-pack brickheads, and this one just doesn't inspire me. So maybe I'm missing an Albie flying under the radar, but I'm passing. Moana and Merida, great designs, but they also don't inspire me. I haven't seen the movies. They weren't in my generation as a kid. The Speed Champions Mercedes 2-pack. This is an interesting one because some people are saying they love it, and then many people are saying it's boring and it's a total pass. I'm actually going to go for a few of this one. I think most of the Speed Champion sets are still evergreens, but not all. There's one that I actually will be passing coming up. And then here's the last of the Harry Potter 2-pack brickheads, and again, just doesn't really inspire me. And this one only has a 1.5 enthusiasm score. The Playscale Millennium Falcon, also with a 1.5 enthusiasm score. I think there could be an argument here, but I'm passing because of the long shelf life. Been out since 2019. Lego will always have a Playscale Millennium Falcon on the shelves, but the argument is 2 points. One, a lot of people feel the same way, so there might not be many investors, so it could be very low supply, and with any demand, do all right. And 2, the latest Millennium Falcon version is this Dark Falcon, which is super cool. I love it. I want it. I want to invest in it when it gets closer to retirement, but it is so different from your typical Millennium Falcon that if you want something that is canonical, they're gonna have to go to the secondary market. I'm still passing. And then last set retiring with 4 mentions is this Visitor Center T-Rex and Raptor Attack. Only a 1.3. I've picked up 2 at 50% off, and I will only be getting any more if they are 50 or more % off. I know dinos historically do well, but it's an awful build in my opinion, and so I'm not watching this one closely. It will just be if I happen to stumble across some more at Walmart at 50% off. Now to the sets that have 3 mentions. First up is this Technic John Deere tractor, or the smaller one, $35. It's been $28 very frequently. It is starting to show out of stock. I haven't gotten any yet. I want some, and I'm starting to worry that I'm not going to be able to get them for the price that I want, because I want to do a little better than the standard 20% off. Also with the low 3 mentions, but a very good 2.7 enthusiasm score, is this Target exclusive Wolverine Adamantium Claws. This is such a weird set, so plain, so boring, but I have fallen in love with it, not at $70. $200. So I'm watching it closely, and I bet like the helmets, Target will throw a pretty good discount at it right at the end of the year. And then here's one to talk about again. This Harry Potter, Diagon Alley, Weasley's Wizard Wheezes, an astonishing 2.7 enthusiasm score. I get the argument. Lego's coming out with a couple more like this, so they're building a little mini series basically. So people might want to go back and get this, but there's nothing special about the minifigures. Yeah, all 7 of them are unique, but we've had pretty much all these characters before. It's only a 3.7 on Brickset, and less than 2,000 members own it. There isn't a lot of demand there, but I do think it could be a little bit of a sleeper. I like some of the argument that there will be such low supply and people will want to come back and complete their little mini series collection with these. And Harry Potter, like I said, is starting to inch back up in terms of secondary market demand. Now we got to scroll a little further down the table. For any sets that I'm not mentioning, definitely check them out. Take a peek at the mentions and enthusiasm score. Of course, next year and future years, as all of these start to hit retirement lists, then I'll be talking about them. But next one is this Treehouse, 3 mentions, score of 2. I'm still passing, but the argument that this has been on the retirement list the 2 previous years, and therefore people have stocked up on them, and then it falls off the retirement list, and investors don't want to have a bunch of money tied up in this set, means they liquidated just to recoup what they can. Therefore, there's not much supply in investors' hands at this point, is at least intriguing. But there are other sets I'd rather put my limited investment capital into. And then the other John Deere set that is retiring at the end of this year, this is the big one, $200 is the Skidder. I think it looks great. Some people have made the argument that the tractor looks a little better just because that classic John Deere tractor, but I think this one's cool. I like the larger size and all of the pneumatic action features. So I'm pretty big on this one too. The other diorama that's retiring at the end of this year, the Emperor's Throne Room. Awesome build, awesome set, crazy $100 price point. Same story, a massive discount set for me. Other than the fact that I do have one, if you can see it over my shoulder, and that one is for a personal build. With only a 1.7 score is the Holiday Main Street from the Winter Village collection. It's a hard pass for me. The luster for investing in the Winter Village sets has worn off. This is just a bunch of little pieces that, yeah, they fit well together, but the 2 buildings are so shallow. There's very little detail. They're not closed up. It just doesn't fit in with, I would say, the more detailed, more advanced, and more professional looking Winter Village sets from the past. The Ideas Club, only a 1.7. I am watching this one closely. Definitely it's a high risk, high reward set. If or when I pick some up, I realize it's a pretty good gamble, but there's something that just keeps grabbing my attention about this one. The stand in the cradle is fantastic. The globe is only so-so, but it could be a total sleeper in my opinion. And then here's that Speed Champions that I will not be investing in unless they throw such a discount at it that I, would be dumb not to pick it up. I'll get one for personal collection because I want a complete personal collection, but this one isn't great and there's very little buzz, only a 1.7 enthusiasm score. And then funny enough, the last Speed Champions set to talk about is this McLaren 2-pack. And this one I do like because it is $35 for 2 cars. Yeah, they're not the best. I know McLaren isn't the most popular, but the new price point is $27 for 1 car. That's almost $55 for 2 cars. So we're starting out $20 off. When this one goes on sale, I think we're going to be better than 50% off of the new price point. And people will be conditioned to seeing the higher prices. And I think there is some pretty good runway. And I think these are underappreciated because of the hate that I hear in some of the videos I watch towards McLaren in general. And I think people will go back and see these are pretty good builds and pretty good designs. And they look pretty unique with these color schemes and the orange. I think there's a little potential here. Also with a disappointing 1.7 score is this City of Lanterns from Monkey Kid. You guys have heard me talk positively about this set all the time. $160 for almost 2,200 pieces, 9 minifigures, a 4.4 on Brickset. I just see winner, and obviously it's a sleeper, so I might be one of the few that has any supply on the secondary market. Not that I have a ton because it's such a big set. My concern with these is I don't want to get too many because it's hard to find a buyer, and how many of these do I really want to be shipping around the country? I'd rather sell these locally on Marketplace and maybe put 1 or 2 of them in the mail to eBay or Amazon. Icons Ghostbusters Ecto 1. I still don't like this set. I've had some people push back on me and say, new movie and it's iconic and etc. etc. Too long of a shelf life. Very few of the Icons vehicles do any good, so I'm not risking it. But maybe if nobody invests in it, then there's real opportunity for the couple that do grab some. This Target exclusive Star-Lord's helmet, score of 1.3. Funky looking helmet. The front mask area is great. The rest of it isn't fantastic. Even with it being a Target exclusive, I still don't want to go for it. Mini Disney Palace of Agrabah, 3 mentions, but only an enthusiasm score of 1.0. I disagree. Too low, it'll be a longer hold time, but there's like 5 of these mini Disney castles in this new sub theme. They're small, they're easy to display, they look fantastic. Yes, this one doesn't come with a minifigure, but it's also one of the lower prices at $40. Definitely a longer hold time, but I think it's a little bit of a sleeper and a little bit of potential. Hogsmeade's Village, I think it retired in July, but there's still some out there in the wild. E-score of 1. Some people have said that don't worry about the fact that this is Harry Potter, but focus on that it is Christmas themed with the snow on the roof plates and roof sections, that it could go in with Christmas villages, and therefore there would be some demand. I'm not buying it. It's a pass for me. All right, and now the rest of the table has sets with only 2 mentions or 1 mention, and I'm not even going to hit all the sets that are retiring on down with the rest of this table. I'm just going to highlight the ones that I have something fun to say about. So please follow along, take a look at things that I'm skipping over. I'll try to go a little slowly and maybe point out a couple things here and there, but I do want to show you the exotic pink parrot. This is a winner in my opinion. It is a Target exclusive, and this only amplifies to me that it's a winner. 2 mentions in the last 2 months. Yes, a top E-score of 3.0, but it's not on a lot of people's radar. We've got the blue, which is a recolor. Actually, the pink is a recolor of the blue. This idea is Tales of the Space Age. This one continues to grow on me. E-score of 2.5. There will not be a lot of investors, so low supply. It's a build that puts a smile on a lot of people's faces for a pretty cheap price point for the Ideas line. Most ideas grow. I think this one's got a shot. Skipping over the Lego brand store, Joy, Sadness, and Anxiety. That one is also still on the Brick Fanatics list, but I think that one got pushed another year for retirement. Vikings Village is great, but it's not retiring anytime soon. Let's look at the dried flowered centerpiece. I continue to go back and forth, but I'm thinking pretty good, even though it has much lower demand than pretty much all of the other botanical sets, but it also has a very short shelf life, less than 2 years. That is unheard of in the botanicals line, and it is a great build with a bunch of cool looking pieces. I get that it is dried flowers and not as colorful and not something that you would go get your spouse or bring as a home warming gift or something like that, but during the cooler months of the year, people love to decorate their house in all of the fall colors. Many people who live in the warmer parts of the country and the world really look forward to the cooler weather, all of their fall decorations, and I think this is a must-have. I'm leaning towards a good one, especially because a lot of people are not, and I think it'll be low supply on the secondary market. I do want to show this little carousel ride because many of the larger fairground sets with the large Ferris wheels and merry-go-rounds have done quite well, and very few people are paying any attention to this set. $25 is expensive, but I could see people wanting to add this in to the larger amusement park sets. Nothing too exciting in this section of the table. The Pagani Utopia is a great build, but it's gray. Some newer sets that are of interest when they get closer to retirement. Disney's Duos is a pass, even though it is a Target exclusive. I've talked a lot about the Spider Tank, and let's keep going. Yoda, Chewbacca, Hulkbuster. Those are all 50% or more discount sets. And a little further down is the Medieval Castle. First set with 1 mention, top enthusiasm score of 3. Definitely still flying under the radar. I'm surprised. This one should have more buzz. Yeah, it's a creator 3-in-1, but there's always a few that do okay. $100 for 1426 pieces. I can see many people wanting to grab 2 or 3 of these, which isn't that crazy. $200 or $300 and tons of castle pieces, and do all kinds of cool mocks with it. The Australia postcard, some people are still pretty high on the postcards. E-score 3. They're still a pass for me. I think that the Paris postcard was a fluke. Got a variety of sets in here. Some Monkey Kids, some Marvel. The Sword Outpost, I didn't pop it open, but that one could be of interest to look at. And I did want to show Monkey Kids Team Hideout, but it looks like I slipped by that. Here we go. Also an E-score 3. Who knows, but it just looks really cool. I love all the foliage and how the buildings are carved into a little mountainous and cliff area. There won't be much supply, so if the demand ends up being okay, then it might grow in value. And now let's get back a little lower on the table. The typewriter, I can't believe it only has 1 mention and an E-score of 2. This is one of my top sets for investing, but I still haven't been able to find it at a palatable discount because even $200 for the 2079 pieces feels expensive. So fingers crossed that it hits the price point that I want to go in on it. And then another astonishing 1 mention with an E-score of 2 is this Walmart exclusive Birdhouse. I picked up 5 at $16 when they were going on Fireside clearance, but even at a standard 20 or 30% off, I think this one will grow decently. So I'm surprised that there's very little buzz in the last couple of months. And then the last one that I want to show you, I'll scroll slowly so you can read as we go, but it is this family reunion celebration seasonal Chinese traditional festival. table. It is open in the back, but it's a little bit like a modular, and I think it is great architecture and color scheme to put into a large modular city. Totally a wild card, but I wouldn't be surprised if this one popped up in value, and then we'd all be saying, oh man, we should have got it. But I think it is a gamble, high risk, high reward if I were to pick any up. All right, so those are all the sets I'm gonna pop open. I'm gonna show you my top 3 in a minute, but let's keep scrolling and you can take a look at these. And then here are the sets that are retiring with only one mention, and there isn't anything to point out in that list. Bunch of sets on there with only one mention. And then we get a little further to the sets with one mention, E-score of 1, that are not expected to retire at the end of this year. The new C3PO, for example. And then here we are to the bottom of the table. So my top 3 is interesting in this video because I'm not super impressed with the highest mentioned and highest rated sets on the table. I think most of these are evergreen that will do solid returns, but if I'm picking a top 3, I gotta pick at least 1 or 2 that I think are diamonds in the rough that might be total bust, but I really think have a good shot. So let's see what my third place set is. After all that build up, I picked an obvious one for third place, Gandalf the Grand Balrog, 8 mentions, E-score of 2.8. But my second place set is this John Deere tractor, and now we're getting lower on the table. 3 mentions, a very solid 2.7 enthusiasm score. As you know from my power rankings video, I like the larger John Deere set better, but this one is going in and out of stock at a few places recently, and because of that, like I said, I need to watch it closely. And then my number 1 set is the Ninjago City Gardens. Only 5 mentions, but a crazy awesome 2.8 enthusiasm score. I don't see how a set this beautiful, this well designed doesn't grow in value, but I understand the hesitancy because of the large price point and dealing with the larger boxes. All right, that's the last of the sets to show you. This was a really fun video to make because I am super excited to use all this data and to surgically pick the sets that I want at the prices that I want, hopefully stack those deals, find some unique opportunities out there, be at the ready. Maybe there's a set that I'm like, it's, in the periphery of something I'm interested in, but if the deal pops in and it's right, that I know what I'm looking for and I know what price and I'm ready to pounce on it. And then of course there are some others that, with just the standard 20 or so % off, I want to pick a few up. This one, for example. So that's a wrap. Thanks a lot for watching, and I will catch you in the next one. Oh, and don't forget, my videos are for entertainment purposes only. I do not provide financial advice. You got to get that from somebody else.